So they give us the equation y equals 3x minus 8, and we have to figure out which of these equations would be the same line as y equals 3x minus 8. So the given equation right here, if you remember, that is written in slope-intercept form, which is y equals mx plus b, where m is your slope and b is your y-intercept. So if I take my equation, y equals 3x minus 8, I can see that my slope is equal to 3 and my y-intercept is equal to negative 8. And the y-intercept, again, is where the graph is going to cross that y-axis. And slope, you could also write that 3 over 1, where 3 is your rise and 1 is your run. So all of these equations that they give us, as you can see, none of these are in slope-intercept form because none of them are solved for y. All of these equations are written in standard form. Standard form is ax plus by is equal to c. It's just another way to write an equation. So you could write it like this, or you could write it like this. They're both linear equations, which means that you're going to have a constant change in the x values, a constant change in the y values, and your graph is going to be a straight line. So you have two options. You can take this equation, put it into standard form, and see if it matches any of these. Or you could take all of these choices, put them into slope-intercept form, and see if you get one of these. So easiest, I think, would be to start with taking our given equation, which is y equals 3x minus 8. And let's put that into standard form. So we have our x and our y terms on the same side of the equal sign, and then our c constant on the other side, and see if it matches any of our choices. So if I want to put this in standard form, I have to get the 3x term, and I have to get that to the other side. So I'm going to subtract 3x from both sides. Now, a common mistake here is to divide both sides by 3, but if you divide by 3, you're only getting rid of the 3. And you want to get rid of the whole term 3x, so to get rid of the whole term, we have to subtract 3x from both sides. So when I do that, I would get negative 3x plus y is equal to negative 8. So this is now in standard form. So if I look at this equation, and I look up here at all of my choices, I don't see any of those that match, right? However, if I look at some of these equations, so I might think this, I've done something wrong. But the other thing that you have to remember is if I multiply this whole equation that I just put in standard form, I can multiply this whole equation by some number, let's say 2. I have to multiply every single term by 2. So if I multiply the first term by 2, I get 2 times negative 3x. Plus, I'm going to take 2 times the second term, which is y, equals 2 times the third term, which is negative 8. And then if I multiply those all together, I get negative 6x plus 2y is equal to negative 16. And if I go and look at my choices, I see that it is right here. So the answer is D. So that's a tricky question because when you go through that first step and you get this equation, you might think something's wrong, you might kind of give up, think my answer isn't up there. But you have to remember that you can multiply every term by something and you're still getting the same equation. It's still the same line. It's similar to as if you were to take a fraction, and if you multiply the top by and the bottom by some number and you get 2/4, that's still the same. 2/4 is the same quantity as 1/2, right? It's just not in lowest terms. So don't forget to do that on your test. Think of other things that they may have done to kind of trick you, multiplying every term by a number, dividing every term by a number, but it's still the same line, right? It just wasn't simplified.